Because the chapter of i'rab, what you need to realize is that with i'rab, there are rules that you need to follow. With i'rab, there are rules that you need to follow. And I'm telling you, when you follow these rules, it makes your life very, very easy. Your life becomes extremely easy because you know, okay, this is a single form verb or noun, and this is a plural noun. And if it's a plural noun, then in what state is it in? How do I use it? How do I write correctly? How do I align them together? Because the Arabs, when they spoke, they didn't need grammar, they didn't need sarf, they didn't need balagha, they didn't need adab. It was their nature how they spoke. And then the Quran came to them. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah ta'ala, in this class we're going to continue from where we stopped from Al-Ājrūmiyyah, and the last class we had is وَلِلْجَزْمِ عَلَامَتان, and the jazm has two signs, and we said that is a sukun wa hadful akhir. Lakin at the moment, what Ibn Ajrum did is like he summarized everything of the Bab al-I'rab which we covered in one small chapter as well. Faslun al-Mu'rabatu qisman. And there, what we're going to do, inshaAllah ta'ala, is put all of these words together and look into them and start doing some sort of exercises, bi'idhnillahi al-kareem, so that you can have a better understanding of them. But what you need to realize is this, is that when we covered this chapter, these chapters, we said that there are words which they accept change at the end, and there are words which are fixed. What we are looking at are words which are accepting of change at the very end, not fixed words. These words are known as al-mu'rabat, words which accept i'rab, accept the change of inflection at the very end. Like in these inflections also are of two types, and we're going to read through the text of what we need to cover today. So be patient, listen carefully, and then we're going to do the breakdown inshaAllah ta'ala. قال المصنف رحمه الله تعالى نفعنا الله به وبعلومه في الدارين. فصل المعربات قسمان، قسم يعرب بالحركات وقسم يعرب بالحروف. فالذي يعرب بالحركات أربعة أنواع: الاسم المفرد وجمع التكسير وجمع المؤنث السالم والفعل المضارع الذي لم يتصل بآخره شيء، وكلها ترفع بالضمة وتنصب بالفتحة وتخفض بالكسرة وتجزم بالسكون. وخرج عن ذلك ثلاثة أشياء: جمع المؤنث السالم ينصب بالكسرة، والاسم الذي لا ينصرف يخفض بالفتحة، والفعل المضارع المعتل الآخر يجزم بحذف آخره. والذي يعرب بالحروف أربعة أنواع: التثنية وجمع المذكر السالم والأسماء الخمسة والأفعال الخمسة، وهي يفعلان وتفعلان ويفعلون وتفعلون وتفعلين. فأما التثنية فترفع بالألف وتنصب وتخفض بالياء، وأما جمع المذكر السالم فيرفع بالواو وينصب ويخفض بالياء، وأما الأسماء الخمسة فترفع بالواو وتنصب بالألف وتخفض بالياء، وأما الأفعال الخمسة فترفع بالنون وتنصب وتجزم بحذفها. أيوة نعم. Now subhanallah, sounds like a lot, isn't it? Like in Ibn Ajrum, when he summarized it, he wanted to show us that this is how it works. And when you read the summary, you end up realizing if you did not cover the first parts of Babul I'rab, you would not be able to understand exactly what he was trying to do. So because we've covered that, and perhaps if you're literally just new here, you're just starting this class today, I would advise you to go through the previous classes first, and then you combine the rest with the one that you're doing today. And Nahu kasilsila. Nahu is like a chain. You literally miss one connection, is totally broken. You need to connect every single lesson together. وهكذا, from the beginning to the end. If you do half of it today, half of it tomorrow, you will notice that what you did yesterday, you've forgotten it, and then you need to start again. And then you end up repeating the same cycle of not moving forward. The same cycle of 0 to 1, 0 to 1. You don't want to do that. You want to move forward, inshallah. And how do you do that? You connect the lessons together. If perhaps you're literally following along with these classes, but you've forgotten the previous ones, my advice is also revise those along the way as you are doing these, inshallah ta'ala. So, al-mu'rabatu qisman. What is he referring to? Al-mu'rabatu qisman. What is he saying? He's saying that the words which accept change, they are of two types. The words which accept change, they are of two types. They are those which accept harakat at the end and those which accept huruf at the end. You do the i'rab of it according to the inflection rules with a harakah if it's a word that is completed with a harakah, or you do the i'rab of it with a harf if it's supposed to be with a letter. Now when it comes to the harakat, the types of words which the inflection of it is with the harakah at the end, they are al-ismul mufrad, the single form noun, jam'u taksir, the broken plural noun, jam'u al-mu'annath al-salim, the feminine plural noun, and al-fi'lu al-mudari' alladhi lam yattasil bi akhirihi shay', the present tense verb which does not have anything with it at the end. It's a single form basically. Single form. That's the rule. Now you might say, lakin ustad, there are words which have ahruf al-illa at the end. There are words which have what? Ahruf al-illa at the end. They have huruf al-illa. And we said huruf al-illa, they're imma al-alif, aw al-waw, aw al-ya. Any one of these, isn't it? Lakin understand this. If you have the word da'wa, مثلا, in this case, you have the word shakwa. These are nouns, by the way. These are not verbs. And let's say if it comes to a verb, you have the verb da'a. You have the verb khashiya. I would have khashiya. That's a past tense. Present tense. I want present tenses. Yes. Yad'u. Yakhsha. Yakhsha. What else do we have? We have the ya, for example, yaqdi, aywa, yaqdi, in this case. Does this make the ending of it to end with a harf, with a letter specifically? No, it doesn't make it to end with a letter specifically, because the case of it is different. We're going to cover that as we move along, but not now. We're going to cover that as we move along, because the chapter of i'rab, what you need to realize is that with i'rab there are rules that you need to follow. With i'rab there are rules that you need to follow, and I'm telling you, when you follow these rules, it makes your life very, very easy. Your life becomes extremely easy, because you know, okay, this is a single form verb or noun, and this is a plural noun, and if it's a plural noun, then in what state is it in? How do I use it? How do I write correctly? How do I align them together? And the good thing with grammar, what happens is that it becomes one huge snowball as you move along, and it becomes second nature in your life. Because the Arabs, when they spoke, they didn't need grammar, they didn't need sarf, they didn't need balagha, they didn't need adab. It was their nature how they spoke. And then the Quran came to them. And in the process of preserving the Quran and the language of Islam itself, the ulama had to literally divide these subjects into what? Several parts. You notice grammar is grammar, sarf is sarf. But if you read Kitab Sibawayh, which is the book known as Al-Kitab, لذلك بعض العلماء, what do they say? They say that نقرأ الكتاب لنفهم الكتاب. Isn't it? We read the Kitab of Sibawayh so that we can understand the Quran. We study the Kitab of Sibawayh so that we can understand what? The Quran. Because the Quran is the Kitab. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Now when they say this Al-Kitab, the Kitab did not, the book of Sibawayh did not just put grammar alone. Grammar, sarf, you mention it. All of these tools that you need in order for you to لِيَسْتَقِيمَ اللِّسَانِ, so the tongue can be corrected and it follows the rules of the Arabic language. Like now we have grammar, sarf, we have nahaw, sarf, adab, balagha, and all of those, arud, and the rest of the other ones, ilm al-ishtiqaq. So you notice all of those types of sciences in Arabic, when they don't want to do that. But like when it comes to nahaw, you notice that also it becomes part of your second nature. Now what do you need to realize is this. الفعل المضارع الذي لم يتصل بآخره شيء, it means it's a single form noun. We're talking about a single form. It doesn't matter if it has an حرف علة at the end. And the same with single form nouns, single form verbs, single form nouns, doesn't matter. It's okay. لكن also we have the type of words which their inflection are with huruf, letters. Now we said huruf al-illa, there are three, right? We said that it's alif, waw and ya. Lakin also when it comes to the i'rab concept, there are four types of letters, and they are, look at this, and they are, look at this, they are al-alif, wal-waw, wal-ya, wal-noon. Does this stand as ahruf al-illa? No. These are not defecting letters. They are not those. Okay? Not huruf al-illa. These are not huruf al-illa. Ahruf al-illa. They are not. What are they? These are for the words which their inflection is through letters. Their inflection is with letters. And they are what? Look, we said for the al-mu'rabat bil harakat, those which have harakat, they are al-ism al-mufrad, jam'u al-taksir, jam'u al-mu'annath al-salim, al-fi'l al-mudari' alladhi lam yattasil bi akhirihi shay'. أليس كذلك؟ لكن when it comes to al-mu'rabat bil huruf, التثنية, dual form, jam'u al-mudhakkar al-salim, masculine plural, isn't it? Al-asma'ul khamsa, the five particular nouns. Al-af'alul khamsa, this is supposed to be al-af'alul khamsa. Al-af'al al-khamsa, the five particular verbs. Okay, the five particular verbs. Now, what you need to realize is that these i'rab is through huruf, and you notice that sometimes why are the huruf the same, like the rules are different? Why are the huruf the same? What you need to understand is that the rules are different, and I'll give you examples for each, inshaAllah ta'ala. I'll give you examples for each. Let's start from the beginning. Al-mu'rabat bil harakat, the first type of words that their inflection is with harakat. The harakat intended they are fatha or fathatan, kasra or kasratan, dhamma or dhammatan, or sukoon in itself. Any one of these. Is that very clear? Understood? So you either have fatha or fathatan, kasra or kasratan, dhamma or dhammatan, or the sukoon on its own as that. Lakin as we said that the sukoon is specifically for the verb. If you study in the previous classes. And the rest of these, they can work for both nouns and verbs. Not the rest of them, sorry. The dhamma and the fatha, they work for both nouns and verbs. Lakin this one is specific for the noun alone. The kasra is only for the noun. So you have the sukoon for the verb only. The kasra for the noun only. The verbs do not accept a kasra at the end. The verbs do not accept a kasra at the end. Is that very clear? Only, for example, if I give you an example such as لم يخرج. لم يخرج الأستاذ مثلا. لم يخرج الأستاذ. Now you notice when I am doing these, let me just wipe the ending of each one of these and then write them in red. One. Yes. He said, look. لم يخرج الأستاذ. You might be wondering, but Ustad, you said the verb. So this يخرج is a verb. This is a present tense verb in a state of jazm, because of the jazim. This lam causes that verb, the present tense verb, to be in a state of jazm. It causes the present tense verb to be in a state of jazm. It's supposed to be sukoon on the top, but it's not. Rather than sukoon, it's a kasra. Why? Because of the rule known as iltiqa'u sakinain. We mentioned this before. Iltiqa' as-sakinain. What does that mean? Iltiqa'u as-sakinain, it means the meeting of the combination of two sukoons. So when you have the first word ending with a sukoon and then you have the following word beginning with a sukoon, those are two sukoons combined together. And for this reason, this sukoon remains, the second word, as it starts with a sukoon, that remains. This first word, at the end of it with a sukoon, you remove the sukoon, you give it a kasra instead. So you notice, lam yakhruj al-ustad. Al-ustad, look at this. Al-ustad. Understood? Two sukoons. In this case, what do? You have to dismiss this sukoon, give the word a kasra, and say lam yakhruj al-ustad. But does it change the inflection rule for it not to be in a state of jazm, which originally is a sukoon at the end? No. Originally it remains as a sukoon. You don't say the alama of it at the end is a kasra. No, you don't say that. And even if you do, you have to clarify why is it a kasra? Because of the combination of two sukoons. Liltiqa'i sakinain, two sukoons met. And because of that, on the first word, as it ended with a sukoon, you dismiss the sukoon, you drop it, and you keep the sukoon on the second word as it starts with a sukoon. Isn't it? That's what you do. Khalas, we're done with that. Now, what were we trying to say? What were we trying to cover? Coming back here, look at this. الفعل المضارع الذي لم يتصل بآخره شيء. Now look. أيوة نعم. Before that, what did we say? We talked about the harakat, isn't it? So with the verb, you notice that it ends with a sukoon, and the noun, specifically its sign is a kasra, the jar. Lakin the dhamma and the fatha, they work with both nouns and verbs, inshallah ta'ala. Coming back to our notes, look at this. الاسم المفرد جمع التكسير جمع المؤنث السالم الفعل المضارع الذي لم يتصل بآخره شيء. Now when we say harakat, what do we mean? When we say harakat, what do we mean? We mean these harakat. Each one of these harakat, you find them somewhere. And then what did we say? We have the rafa. Al-raf'u, its original sign is a sukoon. Now al-ismul mufrad, the single form noun, al-ismul mufrad ends with a dhamma. Sorry, it's a dhamma. Ends with a dhamma, such as kitabun. What do we say? Kitabun marfu'un. We say that it is in a state of rafa. So in grammatical terms, we say marfu'un بالضمة الظاهرة بالضمة with a dhamma الظاهرة, which is clear, a clear dhamma في آخره, at the end. Okay? مرفوع بضمة ظاهرة في آخره أو بالضمة الظاهرة في آخره. The manifest clear dhamma at the end. Understood? It's as simple as that. لكن you notice الاسم المفرد also, الاسم المفرد, look at this, bear with me. We said that الاسم المفرد, you notice that also at the end, it can end with, rather than ending with a clear dhamma, you have the word such as Salma, the name Salma, in this case, isn't it? Why is it not Salmayu? In fact, this is an alif actually. You would say Salma'u, isn't it? Or like let's say Salmayu. Why is it not Salmayu or Salma'u? Because that's not how you read it. When you have a harf illa, what did we say? Harf illa, they are alif, waw, and ya. Where are they? They are normally at the end. And because of this, when you have a harf illa as the end of the word, at the end of the word, what do you say? Marfu'un. It's still in a state of rafa. It's still in a state of rafa. بضمة مقدرة. مقدرة في آخره. مرفوع بضمة مقدرة في آخره. It is in a state of rafa with a dhammah, that which is assumed. It's in a state of rafa with a dhammah which is assumed at the end. مقدرة. You assume the dhammah at the end. Is that very clear? You assume the dhammah at the end. You assume the dhammah at the end. Why so? Because we said when it comes to the definition of i'rab, the باب الإعراب, what did we say? It means تغيير أواخر الكلم لاختلاف العوامل الداخلة عليها لفظا أو تقديرا. We said i'rab means, inflection means, it is the changing of the end of words of a kalima, of a word, because of the different agents that enter into them at the very end. You either utter the harakah or you assume the harakah at the end. It's either but through utterance or assumption. That's what we said. And in this case, you have to assume that the dhamma is there. That's why you make it very clear. If you don't do that, you're going to start mixing between single form words and those words which end with a huruf at the end. The i'rab of it is intended to be a huruf. So مثلا, for example, if I give you Muslima, okay, Muslima London. Muslima London. Okay, Muslima London. What does that mean? The two Muslims of London. Okay, this is just it's a hypothetical example. I'm just making it up so that you can understand. Look at this word, Muslima. Muslima. This one is Salma. Well, the ending is the same. Ma, see that? And this one is ma, the same. Muslima, Salma, the same. Lakin this i'rab, this i'rab is not the same as that one that we just did. It's not the same as this one. This one you assume the dhamma at the end because it's Salma. It's the name of a woman known as Salma. But this one, this is in dual form. This is in dual form. Okay? This is in dual form. It's not single form because it's two Muslims. Lakin is in a state of idafa, which is this is getting a bit technical. I'm telling you for free. It's getting a bit technical, but right now we don't want to get into those technicalities. I'm just trying to give you an example. That's why you need to know the distinctions. You need to know the distinctions. And in this case, what do we say? Marfu'un bil alifi. Marfu'un bil alifi. It is in a state of rafa, lakin with an alif. See how beautiful that is? لأنه, pardon me, لأنه, why? Because it is muthanna. It is a dual form word. It is a dual form word. It is a dual form word. Now there's something else I could have mentioned here, but I don't want to get into that as well because we have the verb. If the verb is in dual form, what about its i'rab as well? What about its i'rab? But over here, let's go step by step. And this is the only difficult bit. This is the only difficult bit that I want you to pay attention to. So what did we say? Salma, whenever the word ends with a harf illah, then you have to look at the word. Is it a single form word? If it feels like a harf illah, by the way, is it a single form word or is it a dual form or is it a plural form? Because not all the time it's going to be a harf illah. Because you remember we said that there are words which the i'rab is with a what? A harakah at the end, which is the harakat, or the i'rab is with a harf, a letter at the end. And we said that the harakat, imma dhamma, is either dhamma or fatha or kasra or sukun, any one of these four. And we said that the huruf, there is either alif, waw, ya and nun. And what do they share, these huruf, in common? Is that these huruf, you notice the alif, waw and yun, alif, waw and ya are also used as defect letters, أحرف العلة. لكن what sets the difference between the حرف علة and this one is that this one there's also a noon at the end. There's also a noon at the end. Words which the i'rab is completed with a noon. Words which the i'rab is completed with a noon. So you have to know the distinctions between the two. And then we said when it comes to the i'rab of the haraka, you either say it's by utterance, or what do you say? You assume the haraka. You assume the haraka. أليس كذلك? And there's something called إما للتعذر, when you're assuming, basically. When you say مقدرة مثلا إما للتعذر, which is an excuse. You excuse this case. You're giving an excuse because there's nothing you can do about it. But this one is not excuse. What is this? للثقل, because of difficulty. And Arabs were lazy. للثقل, they didn't want to utter every single thing. And the truth is, if you pay attention, it becomes, the taste kind of disappears when you kind of mention it. Let me give you examples for each. للتعذر مثلا للتعذر, I'll use a verb and a noun. But these are single form. للتعذر, we said, for example, that للتعذر ماذا? For example, Salma. I'm still going to use the same Salma. This is a noun. And a verb is, for example, Allah, yakhsha. Yakhsha. In this case. Yakhsha. Both of them end with an alif, isn't it? So what do we say? They are in a state of rafa' مثلا. They are in a state of rafa', isn't it? You would say مرفوع بضمة مقدرة في آخره منع من ظهورها التعذر. It's because of an excuse. There's nothing you can do about it. You cannot say, now let me give you للثقل, you realize. Now this is للتعذر, okay? للتعذر, you're giving it an excuse. There's nothing you can do about it. Like when it comes to الثقل, مثلا الثقل, let me give you الثقل, then you realize exactly what we're trying to mention. You have الثقل, let's say, let's what word, someone's name. We're trying to look for a name. What can we use as a name? أيوة, القاضي. Okay, I'm going to use the same one like in verb sense. يقضي. So let's assume القاضي يقضي in this case, isn't it? يقضي. This one you would say مرفوع بضمة مقدرة في آخره منع من ظهورها. What stopped the dhamma to become manifest? What stopped the dhamma to become apparent? الثقل, heaviness, difficulty. Difficulty on what? Pronunciation. You can't say al-qadiyu. It doesn't make sense. The Arabs never said that. يَقْضِيُّ, you can't say that even. Understood? Al-Qadiyu, you can't say Al-Qadiyu. Nor can you say Yaqdiyu, you can't say that. So you notice we have At-Ta'adhur and Al-Thiqal. These are things which I didn't want to cover, but I just want to make them very clear to you so that you understand. Okay, the reason why we're studying about I'rab with harakat and I'rab with huruf, we need to understand the differences. When do you start assuming the harakah? When do you start assuming the harakah? When the verb or words or single form noun, they end with a what? With a harf illah. That's what I need you to understand. If the word ends with a harf illah, which is a defecting letter such as alif, waw and ya, that's when you start assuming the harakah. It could be the fatha, which is to be in a state of nasb. Alaysa kadhalik? That depends though. We're going to start mentioning some other things. It could be a dhamma, being in a state of rafa'. It could be a kasra, being in a state of jar. It depends. It depends. Lakin, what do? You have to assume when you need to assume in that case. Now, what do we need to cover next after this before we go further to the huruf? Before we go any further to the huruf, Ibn Ajrum mentions to us, yes, we understand that when it comes to the harakat, al-ismul mufrad, its i'rab is with a harakah. Jam'u taksir, broken plural, is with a harakah. Jam'u al-mu'annath salim, feminine plural, is with a harakah. Al-fi'l al-mudari' alladhi lam yattasil bi akhirihi shay', which is a single form, not dual, not plural. Understood? Not dual or plural. And we don't want to mention all of that. It's going to become so long. The class will never end. Understood? What do you notice? You notice that what you're trying to provide us, yes, they do end with a harakah, each one of them. We agree on that, but there's a difference. I want you to understand that. That's what he wants us to do. وَخَرَجَ عَنْ ذَلِكَ ثَلَاثَةِ أَشْيَاء. 3 types of words, they come out of this. 3 types of words, they come out of some rules. Because let's say, al-ismu al-mufrad, غَيْرَ الْمُنصَرِف, al-ismu al-mufrad, single form, which is not flexible all the time, and we mentioned this in the previous class. It's not flexible all the time. The flexibility of it is limited. It has limitations on flexibility. We call this al-ismu al-mufrad alladhi la yansarif. It doesn't accept flexibility all the time. So when it's in a state of jar, and we said a word being in a state of jar means to end with a kasra, it doesn't end with a kasra. It ends with a fatha instead. It ends with a fatha. Such as we have the word Ahmad. Ahmad ala wazni af'al. What do you notice? When it's in a state of jar, it's not Ahmadi. Not Ahmadi. Ahmadi. This is wrong. It's what? Ahmada. This is correct. Ahmada. Okay, Ahmada. When it's in a state of jar, it's Ahmada. But what do you say? What do you say when it comes to the i'rab? I'm just going to mention it, but I don't want you to memorize it. You say majrurun bilba مثلا. Majrurun bilba or bimin وعلامة جره الفتحة نيابة عن الكسرة منع لماذا؟ لأنه اسم لا ينصرف. What made it not end with a kasrah? Because it denied the flexibility at the end. So there are certain words in Arabic, according to how the Arabs spoke, even though they do accept the other types of inflection, such as the dhamma, such as the fatha, all of those, lakin these words, they do not accept a clear kasra. Instead, they accept a fatha, but they are single form. And there are rules in the previous class we covered. After mentioning that, another thing that we need to look into is the jam'u taksir. The jam'u taksir is similar to that of what we mentioned. The broken plural is similar to that of what we mentioned. Because they are broken plural nouns, which the ending of them, they do not accept a kasra. Such as, مثلا, in this case, look, masjid, single form, isn't it? Masjid. We have masajid. Masajid. Now when masajid is in a state of jar, instead of ending with a kasra, it becomes wrong. what do? It ends with a fatha, and this is correct. The fatha is correct. So what do you say? Similar to that of أحمد, you say مجرور بكذا, let's say بمن وعلامة جره الفتحة نيابة عن الكسرة لأنه جمع التكسير الذي لا ينصرف. Okay, لأنه اسم لا ينصرف, or جمع تكسير الذي لا ينصرف. Simple as that. Now coming back over here, what else do we have? We have the جمع المؤنث السالم. We have the feminine plural. This feminine plural, when in a state of nasb. Now with these two, they are when they are in a state of jar. The issue is on a jar. Lakin with this one, when in a state of nasb. And we said a word ending in a state of nasb, its main sign is what? It's a fatha or fathatain, isn't it? Lakin with the muslimat, مثلا, it will end with a kasratain or kasra. The feminine plural, مثلا, we have muslima, it will end as muslimatin. When in a state of nasb, you wouldn't say muslimatan, that's wrong. There's no such thing as muslimatan. It's muslimatin. Both in nasb and khafd. Khafd is jar. In both states, you will say the same thing. Muslimatin. Understood? And when it comes to these two, what would you do? You would say, okay, in the state of nasb, it will be fatha. And in a state of khafd, which is jar, isn't it? It will be fatha. That's it. It will be the fatha. Lakin with this one, it will be the kasra or kasratain. Such as that. And that's very clear.